Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here today not merely to talk about wealth and coins and possessions, but to uncover the hidden treasures buried deep within your psyche. Treasures that, once awakened, can transform your outer world. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams; who looks inside, awakes." And today I invite you to awaken, not just to the idea of growing rich, but to the realization that true abundance begins in the unconscious, in the depths of your inner world. Let me offer you 5 keynotes. Not steps, not tricks, but archetypal truths that echo across the chambers of the soul. Desire is not a weakness to be tamed, nor a fleeting emotion to be dismissed. It is the quiet, persistent voice of the self, that deeper, eternal part of you that knows what you are meant to become. In the depths of your psyche, beneath the layers of social conditioning and the noise of other people's expectations, there resides a core essence, a blueprint of who you are truly meant to be. When you feel a burning desire to achieve something greater, to build something meaningful, or to leave a lasting impact, this is not vanity. It is a signal, a sacred invitation from the self, urging you to move forward into the unknown territory of your potential. We often mistake desire for greed, especially in a world that is quick to label ambition as selfish. But Jung reminds us that the self is not interested in superficial gains. It is not concerned with temporary validation or material hoarding. The self desires growth, integration, and wholeness. When desire emerges from this deeper level, it becomes a compass, not a craving. It guides you toward the tasks and trials necessary for your individuation, the process by which you become your most authentic and complete self. But here's the paradox. The path your self calls you toward is rarely the easiest. It often asks you to give up comfort, to face your fears, and to walk alone for a time. You may have to leave behind what is familiar and confront the chaotic unknown. This is why many ignore the call of their deeper desires. Because it demands transformation, and transformation always carries a price. Still, to ignore this voice is to live a life half awake. The cost of abandoning your desire is not safety but stagnation. You may remain socially acceptable, even successful by external standards, but inwardly, the soul begins to wither. Resentment grows, depression follows. The psyche revolts against a life unlived. So when you feel that inner pull, that vision that keeps returning in your quiet moments, that restless energy that stirs when you imagine something greater, do not push it away. Listen, reflect, ask yourself, is this desire coming from ego or from essence? The ego wants applause and shortcuts. The self wants meaning, even if it takes years. One leads to exhaustion, the other to fulfillment. To think and grow rich in the Jungian sense is to let desire be your guide toward inner and outer prosperity. To recognize that wealth is not merely an accumulation of things, but the unfolding of your highest potential. Follow the voice of the self, even when it speaks in whispers. It knows where your treasure lies, not just in the world, but in the awakening of your deepest truth. Imagination is far more than fantasy or idle daydreaming. It is the sacred bridge that connects the vast, hidden world of the unconscious with the tangible world we inhabit. Carl Jung understood imagination not as mere escapism, but as an essential psychological function, a means through which the contents of the unconscious become visible, expressible, and ultimately transformative. When you imagine, you are engaging in a deeply creative dialogue with the inner realm of symbols, archetypes, and forgotten truths. You are translating the language of the soul into images, ideas, and actions that can shape your destiny. Within the unconscious lies an immense reservoir of potential. Dreams not yet dreamed, talents not yet expressed, solutions to problems your conscious mind cannot solve. But these gifts do not speak in the linear language of logic, they speak in symbols, feelings, and intuitions. Imagination is the only vessel through which they can travel into your awareness. When you begin to visualize a goal, or dream of a life beyond your current limitations, what you are truly doing is tapping into the psyche's deep well, allowing hidden parts of yourself to rise and take form. This process is not frivolous, it is the beginning of creation. Everything that has ever been built, every invention, work of art, business, or movement, began in someone's imagination. Jung referred to this act as active imagination, a process by which one enters into a relationship with the inner world, allowing it to express itself through images and intuition rather than suppressing it beneath rational control. When you practice active imagination, you become a vessel through which the unconscious communicates. This is how visions are born, and if nurtured with commitment and courage, these visions can be made real. In this way, imagination is not passive, it is an active force, a psychological bridge that allows the unconscious to manifest into the physical world, but it must be treated with reverence. The ego often resists imagination because it cannot control it, cannot predict where it will lead. Yet it is precisely in surrendering to this deeper wisdom that transformation becomes possible. To imagine is to risk, to see possibilities where others see limits, to trust images that arise from within even when they defy conventional logic. Many people dismiss imagination as childish or impractical, but the truly successful, those who have grown rich in spirit and in substance, are the ones who dared to trust the visions that came to them in quiet moments. They understood that the imagination is not the opposite of reality, it is the source of it. What you repeatedly imagine, you begin to believe. What you believe with conviction, you begin to embody, and what you embody with action, the world eventually reflects back to you. So guard your imagination not with skepticism, but with care. Feed it with inspiration, silence, and space. Let it show you who you could become, not only as a person of success but as a soul realizing its full expression in the world, because it is through imagination that your inner world takes its first breath in the outer world. It is how your unseen truths begin their journey into becoming reality. Belief is not merely a thought you repeat to yourself in the mirror each morning. It is a living energy, a force that either withers or strengthens depending on its roots. For belief to be transformative, to fuel real change, achievement, and the journey toward wealth and meaning, it must be grounded in something far deeper than blind optimism. It must be rooted in the archetype of the hero. In Jungian psychology, archetypes are universal symbols that exist within the collective unconscious, shared templates of behavior and experience that transcend time and culture. The hero is one of the most powerful among them. It represents the part of you that dares to confront the unknown, that hears the call to adventure and answers it, even when fear stands in the way. The hero does not live a quiet life. The hero is willing to leave the familiar, face the dragon of doubt, and travel through the shadow to discover treasure, not just gold, but personal transformation. When your belief is rooted in this archetype, it becomes unshakable, not because it ignores fear or avoids failure, but because it expects them. The hero archetype teaches you that trials are not evidence that you're failing, they are confirmation that you're on the right path. You are being tested, not punished. The storms you face are necessary initiations, meant to strip away the false parts of you so the true self can emerge. Belief without this heroic foundation tends to collapse at the first sign of difficulty. It becomes wishful thinking, empty affirmation, or shallow confidence that cannot withstand resistance. But belief that is forged in the fire of the hero's journey becomes resilient. It knows that setbacks are part of the mythic cycle. It understands that the descent into darkness is often the prelude to the rise into greatness. The hero archetype reminds you that fear is not a stop sign, it is a threshold, and belief is what carries you across it. This heroic belief also demands responsibility. It requires you to stop waiting for external permission or validation. The hero does not ask the world if they're ready. The hero acts, and grows through action. You must believe that you are capable not because others say so, but because your inner journey demands it. The trials you face are matched by the strength within you, but that strength remains dormant until belief awakens it. Wealth, in its deepest form, is not simply the outcome of hard work or good luck. It is the reward for those who walk the hero's path. those who believe in their mission with the full force of their being, even when everything outside them says it's impossible. The richest lives, financially, emotionally, spiritually, are lived by those who rooted their belief in the archetype of courage, transformation, and triumph. So let your belief rise, not as a fragile hope, but as a sacred pact between you and your own becoming. Let it echo with the voice of the hero within you, the part that already knows, you are not here to shrink or surrender. You are here to overcome. You are here to become, and that belief, when grounded in the hero's courage, will guide you through every obstacle, toward every treasure your soul was born to claim. Persistence is not merely the act of continuing, it is the expression of something sacred. The will of the soul moving through the dimension of time. It is the enduring force that refuses to retreat when faced with difficulty, the quiet resolve that deepens rather than dissolves in the presence of resistance. In the language of Jungian psychology, persistence is not a mechanical repetition of effort. It is the psychological and spiritual determination to remain faithful to the path of individuation, the process of becoming fully and authentically yourself. The soul, unlike the ego, does not demand instant results. The soul understands the rhythm of becoming. It knows that greatness unfolds slowly, and that real transformation requires not just desire, but endurance. When you persist, you are aligning your will with the deeper intelligence within you. That timeless source that sees beyond the surface of things and recognizes that every challenge is not a block, but a passage. A rite, a necessary shaping. In today's world where speed is glorified and outcomes are worshipped, persistence is misunderstood. People expect results quickly, and when they don't come, they abandon their path, assuming they were wrong to begin with. But from a Jungian perspective, obstacles are not signs that you should turn back. They are signs that the unconscious is working with you. They are signals that you are approaching something of real psychic significance. Resistance often emerges strongest when you are closest to a psychological breakthrough or spiritual awakening. Persistence is the proof that your inner commitment is stronger than your outer circumstances. It is the soul's way of showing you, and the world, that you are not here for surface-level success. You are here to embody something, to become someone, and that becoming cannot be rushed. There will be moments of doubt, where progress seems invisible and the weight of the journey becomes unbearable. But it is precisely in these moments that your persistence becomes most meaningful. For it is not when things are easy that your soul grows. It is when you choose to stay, to try again, to believe one more time, even when there is no immediate reward. These are the moments that shape your character and carve the vessel for your future abundance. You must understand the unconscious works in spirals, not straight lines. Progress may seem delayed, but beneath the surface, deep structures are shifting. The self is preparing you for a reality you may not yet be able to see or hold. Persistence is how you remain in that sacred preparation, trusting the timing of your transformation. This kind of persistence is not forced. It is not the ego pushing blindly. It is surrendered strength. It is trusting the process while continuing to act. It is discipline born not of fear, but of devotion. A devotion to your calling, to your deeper truth, and to the belief that what is within you deserves to exist in the world. So when the journey stretches longer than expected, when your outer world shows no signs of reward, remember your persistence is not wasted. It is the will of your soul, expressed through time, shaping your destiny in silence. Keep going, not because success is guaranteed, but because your becoming depends on it. And in the end, that becoming is the richest treasure of all. The concept of the mastermind, as introduced by Napoleon Hill, refers to the synergy created when two or more minds come together in harmony toward a shared goal. But through the lens of Carl Jung's psychology, this idea takes on a deeper, more mystical dimension. The mastermind is not merely a meeting intellects, it is a sacred convergence of psyches. It is the collective unconscious at work, that vast, unseen reservoir of wisdom, instincts, and archetypal patterns that connects all human beings beneath the surface of individuality. When people unite around a meaningful purpose, something extraordinary begins to happen. Their thoughts, energies, and intuitions begin to align, and a third presence is born, a shared field of consciousness greater than the sum of its parts. Jung would describe this as a dynamic interaction with the collective unconscious, the timeless domain that holds all the inherited wisdom of our species. In such spaces, ideas emerge seemingly out of nowhere. Insights arise that no single member could have produced alone. This is not coincidence, it is the psyche tapping into a deeper, archetypal intelligence. In this state, synchronicities begin to occur, meaningful coincidences that seem to guide the group forward. Solutions arise in moments of silence. Inspiration passes between people like lightning across the sky. And why? Because the mastermind, when it truly functions, dissolves the illusion of separateness. It opens the gateway to the collective mind, where we are no longer isolated egos but participants in something far older and wiser than ourselves. To create or join such a mastermind is to enter a psychological covenant. It is to declare that you are ready to grow not only through solitary effort, but through the mirroring, challenging, and refining influence of others. And not just any others, but those who, like you, are committed to purpose, truth, and transformation. It requires vulnerability, openness, and a willingness to let go of the ego's need to dominate or be right. In this surrender, the group becomes an incubator of shared evolution. But the power of the mastermind is not automatic. It depends on the quality of intention and presence each member brings. When egos clash, the field collapses. But when individuals enter with reverence, seeing one another as carriers of wisdom, as reflections of the self, the mastermind becomes an alchemical container. Ideas evolve, visions sharpen, action becomes more potent. You are no longer thinking alone, you are thinking with the energy of the collective unconscious flowing through you. This is how movements are born, how revolutions in thought and innovation take place. Behind every extraordinary leap in human progress, there has been a mastermind, not only of minds but of souls in resonance with something greater, whether in business, art, science, or spiritual development. The greatest breakthroughs occur when individuals come together in conscious collaboration, tapping into this shared inner world. So do not underestimate the power of connection. If you are serious about growth, wealth, and awakening your deepest potential, seek those who challenge and uplift you. Build or find your mastermind, not just for strategy, but for soul. For in that sacred circle, you will find not only collective wisdom, you will find yourself reflected in others, your purpose magnified, and your journey accelerated by forces that transcend the individual mind. When you think in communion, you grow rich, not just in resources, but in meaning, in influence, and in the deep satisfaction of knowing you are part of something larger than yourself. That is the true mastermind, the collective unconscious awakened, alive, and creating through you. So I say to you today, do not seek to grow rich as a way to escape poverty. Seek it as a journey to become whole. Think, not only with your mind but with your soul. Grow, not just in assets but in awareness, and become rich, not only in possessions but in purpose. Because in the end, wealth is not something you chase. It is something you remember was already within you. The privilege of a lifetime, Jung said, is to become who you truly are. And when you do that, wealth will follow. As surely as the sunrise follows the darkest night.